My name is Jaren Mitchell. I'm an actor, candle maker, creative director, pretty much all around creative. And this is my story.
This episode is brought to you by the Loyalty Club, one of the hottest brands out, where they keep their items limited and only for the loyal few. Check us out online at theloyaltyclub.us, or if you're in the New Orleans area, you can check us out at our flagship store, 841 Fulton Street. You already know what time it is. Only for the loyal few, club time.
Gotcha. So, for the people who don't know, I'm like, tell them where you from.
Well, I'm from New Orleans East. I'm from the east side of New Orleans, off of Chef.
Oh, you in the real part, huh?
Yeah. Well, pre-Katrina.
No, when I think about Chef, I always think about a strip club my whole life.
She's that's crazy.
But
that's crazy.
I'm gonna tell people the truth. I'm from the West Bank, right?
Okay.
But my family from the Goose, so I love to go to, the Goose, like down in, Ray in America. That was the longest streets I ever met in my life. So I always tell people I always wanted to go to Abe and Livingston.
Right.
I mean Livingston and Abe.
Right.
But I always tell people, like, actually before Katrina, the East was where to be at.
It was an escape for the rest of the city. How I grew up, everybody came to where we were at, or in my neighborhood, I brought everybody to where I was at. That was a space to be. But even if you didn't come around, you went to the plaza. You know what I'm saying? You went to Lake Forest, you went to the Dollar Theater, you went to the Walmart and the Circuit City, everywhere around it. That was a unique place because it was everything to be outside of downtown, let alone Metairie, Esplanade, Kenner, whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I grew up in the best of both worlds.
Gotcha. So how old were you when you realized, like, man, we ain't got none of that no more?
Katrina. Katrina kind of introduced that idea of, like, you know what, it ain't gonna be the same. The East ain't what the East was. It was probably, I'm talking like as if everybody that's not from New Orleans don't know. But my experience woke me up to being like, all right, you ain't grow up in the burbs no more. Like, it's the city is desolate, so you just gotta adapt to wherever you're gonna be at. You know what I'm saying?
So, for the people, and we're going to talk higher than New Orleans. Nolazine ain't just for New Orleans. So I'm going to say, how was Hurricane Katrina for you? Like, did you have to evacuate? But did you lose everything? Like, what happened?
Surprisingly, I didn't lose everything, but my parents did. My parents lost pretty much everything. But I had left the week before to go to Southeastern. When Katrina hit, that was my first year of college. That was me and all my homies.
I graduated in 05 too.
Well, man, from what?
I tell people that was the best year of my life.
No, real shit. It was.
I say there's never been a New Orleans experience since 05. Because we had to, and why I say this, because I feel like we experienced the real definition of high school parties at the Radisson and the real, like, I feel like parents had real money back then compared to now, because they had like some extravagant 16 parties. Then we could leave from a teenage party and go to Key West.
Oh, man.
And Key West don't close till 7 in the morning for the people who don't know.
You know what's surprising? I was a homebody. I was a massive homebody.
So you didn't even experience it?
If you ain't have like a intimate party, house party, or somewhere that wasn't a club, you wasn't gonna see me there. Katrina grew me up when it came to, like, my adult life. Like, all the homies, they did all that, but that just wasn't me. Like, I was the outcast. But when I say I was the outcast, I was the person that was trying to make sure that I had some type of, like, creative outlet. Because the homies that I grew up with, that's just what we did. We hooped, we played sports, we did, like creative shit. We painted, we did hockey. Like, we was doing East Side New Orleans stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it took me to deal with Katrina to be around and be like, all right, we're going to Key West. Yo, well, what Key West at? Yo, it's in Metairie. Like, they got a club in Metairie? All right, I'm going to go to the Vault. You know what I'm saying? To literally, like, we going to Caesars.
Right.
We're going to Caesars with, like, a polo vest tucked in.
FEMA Friday.
You know what I'm saying? Like literally, that whole little
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That was a different experience for me. But
Rockefeller, 2 point.
Bro,
I remember all of it.
Rockefeller. That was my first.
No, I told people
experience,
Rockefeller
yo.
was the first real club that I actually experienced the real VIP area.
Oh, you was
Like
VIP?
I thought that. Yeah, I thought everything was hood and barroomish, but Rockefeller had a whole area, a room, a glass wall like belly.
Real.
So I'm talking about like that was the.
You see Keisha walking
So no,
through
yeah,
you know what I'm
but the
saying?
club that took me over the top and like dang, was Raised on the River in 360.
Word. I heard stories and I've never experienced race.
I was so young and getting there, and I felt so broke being in there.
To be truthfully honest, like my experience to the city, like I grew up very green. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up as an East kid, and with them being that East kid, like I got introduced to everything secondary. Like my mom and my dad, they're not even from New Orleans. But me and my brother, we the first New Orleanians in the family. So I had to learn everything kind of secondary. But grateful to the point that the people that I've been knowing, they gave me that experience without like any type of hassle, any type of like what's the word? They gave me that experience firsthand with like a instruction manual. Like, listen, bro, you don't go do this, you don't go do that. Da, 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 da. All right, well, cool. I mean, that's nothing I ever thought about, but at the same time, like, y'all never gave me that impression that I had to partake in what was going on in the city. So club life was a new life, but I knew how to maneuver in club life because that didn't really impress me to the point where I felt like I had to participate. That wasn't me. I was just happy to be in the area, happy to be around. You know what I'm saying? If you cool, you cool. If not, it came down to the very core of who you were or who was this environment as a whole. You know what I'm saying? So.
Gotcha. If I just had an incoming call, I called him earlier to show you I was interviewing.
You know what I'm saying?
See if he answers. You asked for the interview. There you go.
Come on, man.
There you go.
What's up, B?
Niggas in this bitch. I'm about to pull up, man.
Alright, we about to wrap it up.
You know what I'm saying?
Molly.
That was Emline, Bubby. You know, we gonna throw this out. Nolazine. Hey, but what's your story? We threw everything raw in the interviews, everything. So with that being said, getting out of high school, going to college, going to Southeastern. I want to go to Southeastern too. So how was your experience at Southeastern? Because AK went to Southeastern, James Mays, aka Emline, went to Southeastern. And like, how was Southeastern for all of y'all? And like, how did you meet those guys as well?
Well, I went to Easton in 2005. So like I said, like when the storm came, that was my first year at Easton. Me, James, and pretty much like 15 other people from Easton all went to Southeastern prior to the storm. So it was just literally like, hey, yo, y'all, college is, we don't know what to do, what we doing when we go to college, we don't know the degree, but we supposed to go to college, so we're gonna do it. And we decided to just go there. But it was the best experience of my life. I feel like that made me understand the world differently from when I grew up.
Gotcha. I ain't like I had two good friends with the Southeastern. Exactly as you went, and I used to go out there for them, and that was Eddie McGee and Braxton.
Oh yeah.
Man. So I used to come to the club Strawberries and the club. So I used to be out there.
Club Strawberry.
Yeah, it just tell me come out here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the name of the parties was. We just was coming out the party.
Man, that's West Bank. So
yeah,
the whole of course, yeah. We was the young guys. We was the young crew that was from New Orleans. That like everybody was like, these niggas is deep as hell. Who the fuck are they? All right, well, y'all from the city? All right, well, we from the city. Especially when the storm hit. That's how we all kind of got tight, got close, or whatnot. But to me, I felt like that was some of the best times of my life, strictly because I got to see a different experience of being on my own, away from the East, let alone like my first disaster, being on my own amongst people of my same age that I felt like I had a whole bunch to gain from and learn from. You know what I'm saying?
So, going to Southeastern, like, I'm like, what did you actually, go for? And like, what did you actually, graduate for?
Well, when I went to Southeastern, I went for accounting. I've always been good with math. I've always been good with numbers, and my girlfriend at the time. She told me she was going to Southeastern for accounting, so I felt, all right, that's what I should be doing. But I didn't have a love for it. I just thought that's what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? That was that's what I was told. You have to go to college for something that you feel like you can have a career in, and that's what I chose that first year. But when Katrina hit, all bets were off. It was a free year. Grades didn't really technically matter, let alone I didn't really care for numbers as much as I thought I did. But I've always had a passion for acting, for performing, and theater. I say that, for theater. And within that, I took a couple of theater classes, post-high school theater classes, which were a little bit more intricate and a little bit more like detailed. And I fell in love with it further than what I did when I was in high school. And that's just what I decided. Like, man, look, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be.
Gotcha. So, I got to jump in this because, like, in New Orleans, we don't really talk about theater and really promote it, but we have a lot of known actors here. And I think that we should really, like, start inspiring these youth that, you like tell them that you could really become a famous actor.
Oh, for sure.
And, like, because people don't feel like it's really realistic.
Right.
But it is.
For sure. It's attainable. I mean, Hollywood Side is a real thing. At the time when I started, I wasn't concerned about film. I wasn't concerned about TV. I just felt as though I like to perform. I like to express. I like to tell stories through being a person within a story. And you could do that regardless of being a performer. You could be a writer. You could be a director. A creative is going to tell a story regardless. But for me, I wanted to be the person to make someone attached to the story by performing in it. And within that, after realizing I wasn't going to be an accountant, I was like, man, look, well, this is all that I feel like I'm great at. I've been told that I could do this, I could do this, I could do that. That's why I decided. I was like, you know what, that's what I need to be. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. So, going into Hollywood, like, for the people who don't know, I'm like, what was the first movie that you could say that people could actually go watch right now? Like a show, a TV show, or a movie that you was in?
Well, like the first movie that I ever done was called From the Rough. And it was with Taraji Henson. And to be truthfully honest, she probably don't even know this. She was the first person that made me comfortable to feel like, yeah, this is an attainable goal. I did theater for like literally since I was a kid. Musical theater, regular theater. But when I did From the Rough, I had a conversation with her, and I asked her, I was like, after our first scene we did, we had some we had some back and forth about the notes that we got from the director, and he was like, look, I want you to do this. And I told her, I was like, look, I don't really feel like I should do this. What I was told from the director based off of what he wanted for the vision. And she was like, well, if you don't want to do it, let's just try some stuff. We did the scene again. After we did that, she was like, how did you feel? I was like, I feel great. She's like, all right, well, I have something that I would like to suggest. And she gave me that note. And after she gave me that note, I was like, I felt like that was solid. And she was like, yeah, cool. So I felt so self-conscious after that. I'm like, yo, but since I don't know how to be sustainable in this career, so what advice do you have to me to progress myself within this? And the words she told me was like, sweetheart, you good. You did the hard part. You nailed the audition. You're here in front of me, and you're making active choices. Just relax. And right then and there, I felt like this was meant for me. But the moment that I felt truthfully like I was here was when I was on Queen Sugar. Because that was the first time that I got a recurring part, let alone it was a part that I could connect to, not because of the subtext of the character, but because he was from Louisiana. And I remember this audition. This audition was probably one of the worst ones I had. My setup was terrible. My homie David, who I had auditioned with, like he was like, look, bro, I know it's last minute, but we're gonna figure it out. Come by the crib. I don't have the proper lighting right now, but we gonna figure it out. So when I got over there, he telling me like, Mo, have you seen the show? I'm like, nah, I haven't. I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen it. It's 3 seasons in. I've never watched the show. He like, nah, nigga, I need to show you what's going on. So he showed me that, gave me some points, and I'm like, all right, I got the tone of what they're trying to, what they're going for within the script, and I did it. And after I saw it, I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. Let's see what happened. And that ended up being the project that gave me the confidence to be like, yo, all right, this for me. Getting around all the actors and stuff like that, like, yo, I'm from New Orleans. Y'all telling the story about Louisiana. Most of them aren't from here. I know what's going on now. I can do this. You know what I'm saying?
So, you know, like becoming an actor, you know, that's already, you know, the average person down here at the moment right now want to become a fashion designer, a rapper, et cetera, et cetera. Not, you don't hear too many people talk about they want to actually become an actor.
Sure.
So I want to ask you, you know, hey, so being in, you know, the movie industry, you know, I'm like, what do you enjoy most about it, and like, what do you actually dislike about it?
My fondest part about the industry is the creative process. There are a lot of New Orleanian, let me clarify. Dealing with New Orleans content, which is the most thing that I've dealt with, we're dealing with stuff about the city. Everybody from New Orleans knows New Orleans. That's why when you go out of town and you find somebody from New Orleans, it's literally like an electric connection. Like, oh, well, what part of the city you from? You can hear the lingo, you can hear the accent, you can almost tell or understand where somebody grew up or where their family is from, vice versa. That's my favorite part of that. My dislike of the industry is the business, because most New Orleans people don't move on business. They move on relationships, they move on energy. But I feel like that's also the thing that we need to give the most focus to, is the business, because half the time a lot of people could come to New Orleans and take advantage of the city because we don't pay attention to the business. And it took me a while to understand that this was a business. The acting industry is an industry built off of a dream. It's no different than music. It's no different from fashion. But I feel like a lot of people understand, like, this is my favorite movie and it's for this reason. This is my favorite song for this reason. But they don't understand that their favorite song or movie is based off of creativity, as well as, more importantly, the business side of it. And we could get lost in that whole allure of, yo, I just want to do this and be the greatest actor in the world. But the greatest actor in the world knows his business. Denzel Washington, who is the coup de grace of black cinema, he's a businessman, first and foremost. He knows his business. He knows what works for him. He's not going to do anything that's going to affect his business, let alone, he's a creative, but he's a dual mind. He's not a blind business person. And I feel like now, currently, I've been in that space to understand, like, I love my creativity, but you're not just going to prey on creativity for the sake of me wanting to just do something creative. Like, we got to collaborate on both sides of the spectrum.
Gotcha. So, you know, going to college, meeting James, you know, I got to speak on it.
Nah, man, that's the homie.
So, like, seeing him growth, like, you know, like you know, but I did an interview with AK. I said, man, I remember James putting up me in the Black Challenger, you know, giving me the Emline hats when he was telling me, like, I actually made him laugh. I said, man, I remember you telling me, I'm gonna say Larry Monroe. I'm gonna just put it that. When Larry tell him to charge a certain price because he was charging like a number for his jean jacket that people weren't doing back in the day.
Right.
So for I'm gonna say watching him grow from college on, did you think that he would be at the point where he at right now?
Yes, 100%. We had a conversation a long time ago when he talked about doing a brand. For me, I always felt that was for him. I'm a blind dreamer. I don't give a fuck what it is. Like I always felt like I was gonna be an actor. He always felt he was gonna be a designer. And I never forget the tweet. I gotta find this tweet. But it was something he posted. I'm not a big social media person. I'm just not. I've never been that. But he posted a tweet like 10 years ago. It was like 90% of me and my Twitter feed, just JJ's Twitter feed, is about succeeding. And that conversation was something that we had always preached about because we always talked about being millionaires. We always talked about just being like investors, whatever have you, with whatever art we do. Didn't know how to get there, but that's just something that we put the energy in. And let alone, we've always been surrounded by talent that we felt could be the millionaire fix wherever it was. I knew it the day that he told me, I feel like I'm about to do my own thing with fashion. Nigga, I seen James, I remember the day James sold his sneaker collection. We counted the sneakers in his grandmother's apartment. It's like 200 and something sneakers. We counted them bitches. And he took them to go sell them to start the line. Like, that's what I felt like I knew he had the hustle to go do from the beginning. Never doubted in my mind. Ever.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That takes motivation. And I interviewed Jane. He didn't tell me so. He didn't tell me so his sneaker collection to actually start that. Right.
But that's honestly,
that's the story on his own.
That's the story where people might feel like he arrogant and all that shit. But that just goes to show that, nobody really knows anybody's story. And that's not for him to say. That's for the people around him to kind of articulate.
I tell people, you have your story, but also other people have the story.
Absolutely.
Because, sometimes people tell me some very remarkable stuff about me that I don't remember ever doing. And, I'm pretty sure you get the same. When you just so locked in your career and locked in, know where you going, you be doing some little stuff that you just trying to win anyway.
Nobody that's in their fucking journey is counting the wins.
Right.
Everybody around you counts the wins for you because you on your goal, on your task to whatever destination you trying to get to.
And guess what? You said the correct word. Because guess what? Success isn't a journey. Our destination. Matter of fact, success is not a destination. It's a journey. Yeah, I said it wrong. I had to get it.
Nah, it's good.
I had one of the margaritas and I had that. But I know the people know what I was talking about just now. Yeah.
And that's the beautiful part about it. Your journey, you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have way more ups and downs than you're gonna have way more downs than you're gonna have ups.
Correct.
But do those downs stop you from where you're going, or do you continue? Because at the end of the day, what else are you going to do? It's cliche, and I know how cringeworthy it sounds, but to those that feel it, they feel it. And to those that don't, they don't until they do understand it. I feel like there's a point where everybody gets to that, there's a point where everybody gets to the moment where they feel like, I ain't got nothing else to lose. Fuck it. Let me just try this. And once you get the first 2 people to buy your shirt, or you get the first 2 people to say, hey, I saw your movie, or you get to the first 3 people that be like, yo, I relate to your music. You build off of that. And being real as New Orleans, and which is what I love about the South. It ain't about South. I love about New Orleans. New Orleans, every person here feels like they're a celebrity, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing. You should feel like you're the best person for what you do, and nobody can tell you otherwise. But you can't be ignorant enough to grow. But I feel like the people that I've been around, they understand that. Because we could be really transparent with everybody. Like, my nigga, I don't know nothing about the industry, but I think you should do this. I feel like you should try this. All right, I'm going to try that. I'm not going to say I'm going to go through with it 100%, but I'm going to give it the thought. Just like
I ain't gonna lie, I'm glad you said the key point just now, because it's funny, because like a lot of people think they're celebrities, you know, a lot of people ain't put their work in, people just think they just overnight success, they get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I had to like listen to it. Like, it shows you really who you are when you outside of New Orleans.
Right.
So, you know, some people thought they was local celebrities, and I kind of, you know, we was at Live. You know, Live don't have no line.
Right.
Your face card got to show.
For sure.
Hey, Nola plug. Hey, Nolazine, walk up.
Right.
And I'm like, let them in too. But it just shows you that New Orleans really think they got a lot of local celebrities. But like, why? I mean, matter of fact, they don't feel like they're local. They feel like they're real celebrities.
Right.
But until they go out of town, they realize they not.
Right.
And guess what? Humbly speaking, being having a good face card, and like, you know, you in the industry, you know a lot of. Right. You done met a lot of people. I met a lot of people, and I met a lot of actors around the world that I would never tell people I know. And I got their phone number. I have no interest in being in Hollywood, but I still wouldn't be throwing in people's face. Like, you know, some people feel like they get their, you know, certain levels and just make it. They feel like they're there.
True. So well, I'll say this for myself. I've been in film for the past 12 years, and I've seen. And I've been around a lot of people that have the status, that don't have to say much and can get what they want. But when you talk to them, they're really like down-to-earth people.
Matter of fact, while you saying that, I'm going to speak on somebody for Queen Sugar. I hung around him. He don't act like he a celebrity. Omar Darcy. Me and Omar went to Harris, go multiple places, and guess what? Omar might even tell you he Omar. But if you hung around, you know that he don't act like that.
O is the realest brother you gonna come across because he's a real person.
Right.
But he understands who he is, what he is, but he doesn't take advantage of that.
Correct.
And once again, he's from the South. He's from Atlanta. He's around that shit all day long. Like, he ain't using that to say who the fuck I am. I'm Hollywood from Queen Sugar. He don't do that.
Right.
What he does do is like, yo, all right, hey, oh, you appreciate the show? Nice to meet you. Where you from? You from New Orleans? Okay, cool. What do you do? And within that conversation, you realize he knows somebody you know. So there's a connection based off of good energy. But knowing, I've only been on the show for 4 years at the time, and I physically met him like my 6th year, and then after that,
it was love.
It's been love. It's been love. But I felt like it was an energy based off of him just being a real person.
Yeah, you real.
And he's always been.
And shout out Omar, man.
You know
Make sure I tag you. You're my dog. Man.
Oh, you the man, bro. Come on, dog. We love you, brother.
But you know, like, just speaking on that ego. A lot of people have an ego. So I learned a long time, like, you know, and I ain't gonna speak down on black people, but like, you know, our black people, I think we've been down so long, so when we get any kind of status, we automatically feel like we that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been around the real money, so now I be like, man, I ain't nothing. So like just the little thing I used to brag about, they used to. So, and like, guess what? I remember calling myself getting a Cadillac coupe, customizing it.
All right.
We did a concert, Chris Brown concert, made millions of dollars at a Smoothie King Center. And he brought an older Cadillac, and he broke me down like, why you brought that? And he didn't want to put the concert on. He just put me part. He broke me down like, man, you don't got to show nobody that. Like, that's what, this is the same guy I've been around, I ain't going to speak his name, but I seen him lose $200K and say, come on, let's go to Penthouse and let's go ball out. Real. So, like, being around real money show you, like, man, we ain't doing nothing. But like, trying to be a celebrity and a face, we got to make the money and stay out the way.
But I say this, though, to your point, look who we grew up
around.
Let alone before the storm, nobody really came to give us that type of energy. So I understand that. Like, I understand, like, for you, that was a motivation. Like, man, they could do it. I could do it too. Right or wrong, right?
Right. And also, I won't cut you off. Like, it's the same thing as you being around. But Taraji, like, man, I know she caking, but she still sat down and gave me enough time to tell me a little advice.
Facts.
And guess what? You probably feel like I'm doing good right now, but like, I got to be humble around her. Like, she really eating with this.
Man, look, when you around these people, well, to me, when I was around them, my first thing was like, man, I come from theater. I come from rehearsals for a month and a half. I gotta miss my homies' games. I gotta miss my homies' parties. I can't do nothing. But at the same time, when I realized there was a balance that I could still do those things, I could still be around these people, I could still have a life, I couldn't do that from the beginning strictly because I thought of what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's no difference from, like I said, with you and your homie and him showing you got your Cadillac and him talking to you. Like, your Cadillac was your Cadillac. Like, for you as a man, you ain't.
Right.
That was your first. That was your first.
That's my first one. I felt like I'm winning.
I'm here. I got this. I'm doing it.
But he break me down like, you could do this with this.
But you needed that. So for me to have Taraji tell me that when I was in theater, I was just happy to be on stage. I built my way up from being like the first thing that I ever did was like it was a play with 7 other people, but I remember the lead actress was like, she was the boss. My homie Shiloh, I love you. Shout out to you. It was 448 Psychosis. I remember seeing Shiloh, and I had this kissing scene with Shiloh, and I never kissed anybody on stage before. When I did it, she was like, "Yo, Jaren, you're a natural, baby. This is what you do." And until she graduated, she was my Taraji at that point. And then when I got to that level, I started to understand, like, all right, well, I'm still, I got to leave Southeastern at some point to go to the next step. So I'm gonna have to get back in that pond again. And then getting to Taraji and asking her that question, and for her to tell me that, well, you're here, don't look at yourself like that. You got to erase all the ego. So ego was never a thing that was specifically said. It was something that was just understood. Like, damn, you got to understand you belong here, but you can't be the person to sit there and say, I'm that guy, I'm him, I'm great.
Correct.
I know I belong here. I do know I belong here, but I'll never vocalize that I am he who needs to be here, because there's still more to go. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. There's a I know I could be long-winded, but
you good, man. Run it.
I'm
gonna have a lot of clips for you.
there's this thing that I love to always like resort back to is like, if a musician goes to JayZ and asks JayZ for advice, JayZ is going to tell him to keep going, keep striving. Whatever you're doing, don't stop. And it may seem like not the wrong thing. It may seem like some throwaway conversation that he's giving you. But there's truth in what he's saying. But if when J. Cole was before the rap starter he is now, goes to Hove and tells him, yo, what do I got to do to get there? Hove saw the progression to where he is before he signed him. So there's a game that he's going to give them because he stuck with it. That's the most important thing.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So similarly, I say that.
Well,
and if you want to be involved in performing and acting, get involved. And keep doing it.
Well, I got to ask you this question before you leave.
Go for it.
I always wanted to ask the actors, like, what mode did you get in for one kissing scene or one sex scene? And like, especially if you have someone at home that might be watching that, scene with you, if that's your girlfriend or wife.
Right. I mean, I haven't had a girlfriend where I've had to have sex scenes and all that, like, go on. But I'll say there's a detachment. Like, there's there's no physical liking to the person. Well, that's incorrect. Hold on. Let me not say that. You know how to detach from what's an emotional connection to when you perform. If I gotta kiss you for a scene, I know this is work because we're discussing how this is gonna go. It's very technical. There's nothing like organic that's happening prior to the performance. It's different if I meet somebody out and we have a genuine connection. You know what I'm saying? So for me, there's a switch in my head that's like, all right, this is work. This isn't real life. I got to do a job. No different from I got to interview X, Y, and Z for the moment, as opposed to we about to go have a drink at the bar and you about to tell me something off camera. You know what I'm saying? So there's a switch.
Gotcha. You know, I just always wanted to ask someone that because, you know, for the longest, I'm like, man, I know they doing it for real.
Yeah.
But you ain't got to get the Hallelujah in secrets away on
You know
here.
what I'm saying? There's something we got to keep under wraps, but it is what it is.
So, you know, with that being said, I'm like, what's next for you?
I got this movie coming out, Osiris, coming out soon. Don't know when the actual dates are, but check out for that. As well as the New Orleans Festival is this week. I have a movie, Solia, a short film, Solia, as well as The Capitalist premiering. As well as I be at the shop supporting my homie James, as well as I got the Candy Lady Candle Company.
All right, and last but not least, tell the world, I'm like, what can they find you on social media and everywhere else?
Well, my social media is Instagram, JayZ Just, JayZ on Instagram and Facebook, as well as Candy Lady Candle Company on IG.